let's move on and see if we can lose a subscriber by looking at this dream. This dream's called Windows All Gone, and starts off, I'm going to school where I do not know very many people. I have an assignment. So school is to do about learning about yourself with a view to improving yourself, and that's good. It's usually going to be a dream about your higher perspective, your spiritual abilities, and so on. I have an assignment is, okay, so you have something to do. So why does the dream say you have an assignment? Do you think that you're finished with doing everything you need to do in your life? And the dreamer's 69. And some of us can get to a point where we think, okay, I've done everything I need to do. You know, I've written the book, I've whatever, and now I'm retired. But it doesn't quite work like that. So anyway, the dream is saying, no, you still have stuff to do. Then you say, a young boy friend who I was hoping to be with, but this boy is very unruly and destructive and has an inclination to destroy property and has done so once before to school property, but without measures taken. So the young boyfriend, this is about your male side because it's a boyfriend, and he's unruly and destructive. So what is male side to do? We look at, like it's generally to do with confidence, belief in yourself, and so on and so on. But here, if we're looking for the negatives, we've got to say then it's got to be something like about deciding, because thoughts are also indicated by men in dreams. So deciding that, being destructive by thinking about something or overthinking about it and deciding you don't need to do it. I'm not quite sure what it is, but it's along those lines. Anyway, he's destructive and he's done it before. That's a hint that you've done this in a past life. So dealing with this in this lifetime, overcoming this, you're like not doing something, is going to be doubly beneficial for you. So the boy and I are still on our next learning, scheduled learning session. So yeah, you have these scheduled. So lessons are scheduled. It's the sequence of them, you know, that helps us get to awareness. We tend to think, me included, we tend to think that when we've dealt with issues in life that, you know, we've learned, we move on and we go, okay, I've done everything I need to do. But we can have the same issues in a couple of lifetimes connected with different things. And everything's going to help us. It's all like filling in pieces of the jigsaw puzzle so that when everything is ultimately done, our level of awareness is, you know, it's not really a clinical measure, but typically around 90%. Then we no longer need to come back to the earth plane anymore. Anyway, you've got something scheduled. So again, emphasis on the fact that you have something planned. It's scheduled. It's on the books for you. And again, I'm saying because the dream has pointed this out twice now, it's definitely saying you have something to do. Don't be thinking you're finished. However, the boy, so here's where it starts getting bad. The boy takes a hammer to the interior of a very, very large school meeting hall whose all four sides are lined with many, many windows and much fine detail work. Okay, so we know your ability then. The windows and the fine detail work say that you've got a really strong intuition. You know, if you can imagine this building, the way I imagine it is just an enormous amount of windows, a tremendous site. So you've got a very strong intuition, and that's what you're meant to be using in order to get you to this next level. But you say, and all the fine detail work, so you're able to get amazing detail through intuition. And that's good. But you say the boy takes a hammer, that's what you said at the start, and he shatters each and every one of the windows and the detail work causing extensive damage. So this is saying your male side is holding you back. Now dreams exaggerate, so it's not like, oh, this is done, it's a done deal, you're screwed now, you can't ever recover from this. Never the case. It's just showing you by exaggeration what you're doing and separating male and female side, because intuition is female side. So it's saying that's what you have to do, something using just your female side. So let go of the big brain, stop thinking about things, and work on them through intuition predominantly. Anyway, you say the boy will not be allowed to progress to the next assignment and will be dealt with somehow, which leaves me on my own. Now look at all these. Leaves me on my own to take off in a plane and go to the next assignment and learn on my own. I'm feeling lost about this, thinking I'm supposed to have a partner, but I'm thinking maybe not. I'm totally on my own now. So this whole emphasis of I'm on my own, I'm on my own, I'm on my own, huge in this part of the dream. So this is obviously something that you are going to have to do on your own, and that's one of your issues. But this is obviously something that you're meant to work through. And I moved to the bottom, the take off on a plane. So this is about taking off on a plane is taking off on a new project or starting a new project, and it's always good in a dream. So it's good for you to get there. So positive. I mean, so we have lots of positives, even though we have negatives in this dream. So let me say, in a quiet moment, I find a piano and play a simple piece. So here we go. So we had your intuition before, and then we have quiet moment, which is obviously the opposite of thinking and thinking and thinking. I find a piano and play a simple piece. And then you say, people gather around me to listen. So the piano is about channeling. So it's saying that you are meant to develop your channeling ability, and you're to develop it to a point where people listen to you. But then we go back to some negatives here, and this is really positive. So we have intuition and we have the channeling. The piano means that, by the way, because music in dreams and musical instruments represent channeling. Music comes from the spirit world, just like channeled messages. Anyway, you say, before people gather around to me to listen before I have learned the piece and polished it up. Okay, so you want to be practiced, get everything perfect. And then you say, it's not my time to be performing. Well, of course it is, because it's in the dream. And you hope they understand that what they hear now is not what they're going to be hearing later on. So you're saying that you hope they understand that. So you're concerned about what other people think. And I can guarantee you that everybody who develops their spiritual abilities feels they're not ready at some point. It's just par for the course. But we still have to do it, because by developing them and using them, when we feel kind of vulnerable, that's when we're going to learn most about ourselves. And if we don't develop them and we don't put ourselves out there in front of other people, then we're kind of in trouble, because we're not going to get to the next level of what it is we need to do. So be less destructive with your thoughts. And anyway, so what I wanted to mention here, a close friend and a close friend of mine, Jamie, whom I love dearly. She could never discover what her life purpose was, and she would have dreams, and when she would recognize a guide in her dreams, she would ask them, what's my life purpose? And they would immediately hit the eject switch, and her dream would be over. And she hated that. And this went on for years and years and years. And I used to joke with her, saying, if I ever have a bad dream, I have a nightmare and I need to get out of it, I'm going to ask a guide what your life purpose is, because then the dream's obviously going to end. And she's channeled on it, and we've channeled on it, and we could never get what her life purpose was. And then I had a smart, or so I thought at the time, smart idea to tune into her energy field and get what her life purpose was from her energy field. And I got it. And before I said it to her, my guide said, don't tell her, don't tell her. And the reason was that she came here to learn to do what she had planned. She wanted to achieve her life purpose without realizing her level of awareness and sticking with her plan, even in a state of confusion, and getting to the end goal despite the confusion. And so that's what she wanted in her life. And her guides were giving her that, making sure that she didn't know and that she did stay confused. So it's obviously easy if you're told, hey, at the end of it all, this is what you're going to end up doing. But your guides don't always want you to do it that way. They want you to discover it in a state of confusion. And sometimes, like in my friend's case, she wanted to do it that way too. And there's obvious reasons for that. She helps other people achieve their life purpose. And by doing it in a state of confusion herself, she will understand what it's like for other people to have to do it in a state of confusion, and therefore has empathy. So there's lots of reasons for it. So lots of reasons. I say that because I think it's the same with you. There's reasons for it coming in the way it's come for you. And we've just got to trust that it's all going to make sense ultimately. So that's that one. And I hope my subscriber count hasn't gone down by one as a result of doing that analysis.